still the best wrestling talk show out there. Superkickin with Stephen and Greg. A little new intro for you. Yes, the lovely sounds of my old former band, Good Guy, Bad Guy. I might have it pulled up here musically throughout the show just because I love that band and I miss playing music at times. But anyways, I'm your host, Stephen A. 1181, as you can see in the fancy picture. We got the Greg one back over there rocking his Avenger shirt. Which Avenger would you be, Greg, if you could be anyone?
Oh man, you
Put you on
know,
the spot right away.
can't go wrong with Iron Man, dude. Just
He's a million, or was he billionaire that has every toy at his dispense, right? I
exactly, exactly. Got to go with Iron Man. Can't stop him.
mean, yeah. That's like
Died a
when you go
legend.
when you go to DC, you think about Batman, all the do gadgets he's got, and being a billionaire, and having a sweet Batcave. I mean, and he's really not a hero. He's a vigilante, so he can kick ass without having. He just recovers very well. But anyway,
Exactly.
uh, yeah, I've always been a big fan of Batman on the DC side. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with Iron Man. I mean, I know a lot of people pick Captain America as the whole USA aspect, and I mean the Hulk can do some cool things, but you got to keep it. You got to keep it within yourself. So
Yeah, Hulk's a one-trick pony, so
I think think
that's
we all have gone Hulk though. I will say probably in our lives. We all have those. We're Bruce Banner, but not anyway. So I'm glad to be back with Greg. He had some fun travel issues last week, but he's back at full strength, and he'll give us his thoughts on things he might have missed last week. But can't believe we're a week out of Money in the Bank, and I can't believe SummerSlam is August 5th. That is way early, Greg. So it makes you wonder: do we maybe do Clash at the Castle again? But then again, AEW is going to be in England, so I can't see them running the same weekend or even the weekend after. So yeah, very curious the timing of that. With because I'm so used to SummerSlam being late August, middle. I thought maybe the 17th or 18th, but we're getting early SummerSlam this year, aren't we?
well, that's the thing. This is the first full year of the Triple H regime,
Yeah.
so Triple H maybe want to switch things up date-wise and how he's going to schedule these special event shows. And there may be something new thrown into the mix that we don't know about yet. Hence the earlier timing of SummerSlam.
Because I think we got pay. Oh no, wait, paybacks in September. That's right. Because then October is Fastlane here in Indy, so that's probably why. Gives you a few more. But like you said, and maybe they thought they were going to go, to England later on in August, and now AEW's got all in, which we'll talk about. Sounds like that's going to be on pay per view. So no deal yet getting them on, streaming services. I'm still thinking we're close to that, but we'll talk more about it. But let's just kind of get into some news and notes that we got going around. So, you've brought this up a couple times, Greg. But now Ariel Alwani, who's, he's in the know, right, of UFC and MMA. He's
Yep.
saying there's no truth to the rumor that Rousey's returning. And, I guess my first kind of shot at it, take at it, Greg, is what what is there for her to do there other than maybe try to prove to herself that she can do it again and finish out the right way, finish that off the right way. But then again, it does feel like the writing's there that she's going to go away after this feud with Shayna, Greg. So uh, either he's not in the know, or there's always the middle ground. There's a little truth and not truth to it. So are you still leaning that we'll definitely see her in UFC? Do you think?
Well, first thing is Ariel Wani is the number one guy when it comes to MMA journalism. He is. There's nobody who's above him. So when he comes out with something, you can pretty much take it for true. Um, there's very few times I've ever seen him not be correct about whatever he reported. So if Ariel says it, it's pretty much gospel. Um, as far as Ronda coming back, I was hearing that it was a situation of she had a hard out with the WWE that after this date, I'm done with wrestling, period, forever.
Yeah.
And we're closing in on that date, which is why they cut off their championship title reign and started doing this feud with Shayna. She wants to put Shayna over on the way out the door.
Yeah.
So that's what it's looking like. And um, explains why there's no rhyme or reason why there was no big build up to them losing the championships.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe that that hard date Ronda set with WWE is almost here, and that leaves room for a big blow off at SummerSlam or right after, maybe at Payback, depending on what that date was.
Yeah.
And then as far as her going back to the UFC, if people are talking about it now because Amanda Nunes just retired. She just had a fight last month. Amanda Nunes is widely considered the GOAT of women's martial artists. She's beaten everybody who's anybody, including Ronda. And when she beat Ronda, it was ugly. She smashed Ronda. And that was after she lost to Holly Holm in her the first ever L she took. She came back, and Amanda was champion. And in the build to the comeback, everybody was just talking about Ronda. They were, casting Amanda aside like this was a foregone conclusion. And Amanda destroyed Ronda. Ronda left, didn't turn back. And now that Amanda's retired, people are saying, okay, maybe Ronda could come back, take her old spot.
Or did she try to call her out?
She would get hot shotted straight to the championship fight if she came back. So there's that. And there's no way she'd call back Amanda. I guarantee you that. But now that Amanda's gone, it's like, okay, the throne is empty. I can come back and sneak in there, is what people are guessing. Um, the telltale sign is if she re-enters the USADA pool, all fighters have to be in the USADA pool, which is the United States Anti-Doping Association. They're the body that governs WWE, or not WWE, UFC, all combat sports, boxing, and making sure all the fighters are clean, not taking any PEDs, things like that. And they have to be in the USADA pool for 6 months, which means USADA come to your house, come to your wherever you are at any random time and drug test you, make sure you're not taking anything. After 6 months, you're cleared to fight. So if Ronda enters the USADA pool, she's going back to UFC, but she has not done that yet. And until she does, it's just that, a rumor. So Ariel says it's not hearing anything, I believe him. And once she does enter the pool, he's going to be the first to know.
It looks like she tried the acting route, but that didn't really seem to hold much water, right? So it's like, what else is there for her to do if she does leave WWE? I don't know what, maybe mom life, right? Run the farm and raise the kids. So I'll be very curious, but it just feels like it's all there that she is going to be gone, and
Yeah.
whether or not what's her next step. Not to say, but then of course we say never as far as coming back. Maybe she needs that full out time away from it, and see what else is out there. But yeah, because like we've also said, I think pro momentum, and Shayna brought it up in her promo, that WrestleMania stuff, and then it was just like nothing. That first year, sorry, was the Royal Rumble win, she won the title. I think they kind of pushed her too quick, and then didn't know what to do with her, after that. So we'll see, how this goes out. We can kind of get into the, the face heel stuff. I don't know. I still feel like Shane is the face in it, Greg, just because the crowd is really behind Shane and what she's saying.
Yeah.
Especially when she's like, nobody wants to hear you talk. Let's face it, Ronda. Yeah. Like if she could have had,
Exactly.
Paul Heyman, I think it would have been a different trajectory for her. Because maybe she
Yeah.
could have learned some of that, talking skills. from Heyman how to really promote something and whatnot. I mean, because obviously, like I said, that first year she had everything going for her. She was looking good. It seemed like she cared. That's the thing too. I don't know if we see that as much as the fire thing. So, um, but if Shayna doesn't get bigger because of this, was it kind of all for naught? So, what is your take? Kind of, where do you think the lines are drawn, Greg?
Yeah, I agree. Ronda doesn't seem like she's in it anymore. You can tell she's checked out. Uh, the segments are kind of flat, and Shayna's the one that is getting over it, and
Yeah, I guess that's
that's
the point.
pretty much what she wants. Shayna's outshined Ronda in WWE since day one. I mean, in NXT, she was amazing. She came up to the main roster and she's kind of floundered, but um, when you give her something with some substance, she's really good.
Yeah.
And this rivalry with Ronda is going to, give us back NXT level Shayna,
Mhm.
and then that's going to help catapult her into, a top spot against Rhea or Oscar or whoever's champion at the time. And that's good because out of Ronda and Shayna, Shayna's the one that's believable. She's the one that we buy into. And even though they're both heels right now, she's definitely going to be the face because nobody wants to see Ronda anymore. That whole mainstream crossover effect she had, it died after WrestleMania and The Rock against her and against Triple H and Stephanie. So, it's been dwindling since that first year. And she did that awesome, beat program with Becky and Charlotte.
Mhm.
That was where she peaked, and after that, it's been all downhill from there. And you kind of tell she was, you know, further and further, um, divested in it after that point. So, um,
And I did think she wanted to be a mom. I mean, that was really weighing on her mind. You could,
yeah,
like she said, they've been trying forever. So, and, and of course, I don't fault her for stepping away and be with your, baby kid, 1 year, 2 year old for the first year or whatever. And then you're able to take the baby on the road. I mean, look, it's Becky and Seth. There's plenty of
yep.
pictures. So, Cody Rhodes. So, um, like we said, Greg, we need to start a WWE baby daycare. We could make a pretty good killing.
You know what?
Just find some find some centralized location for it. Then there's also this I thought was interesting. This is that BWE Booster Wrestling Extra. There are plans that someone could get a big Stone Cold Steve Austin rub, and the first thing that comes to
Really?
mind is Grayson Waller, Greg. Or I was thinking theory, but it does feel like Waller. Now Waller's been calling out The Rock though, so that's interesting. It'd be awesome. Somebody joked the writer's strike, the actor's strike, Greg. The Rock and John Cena might have some extra free time because they're not filming anything right now. They're not doing anything on set, so maybe The Rock could make a surprise appearance and give Grayson Waller a rub. But I don't. It wouldn't surprise me if Stone Cold shows up and maybe gives Grayson Waller a little rub too, right?
Yeah, I get behind the Stone Cold doing it because Stone Cold does a podcast, and I know he's doing that TV show on I think A&E. Stone
Yeah,
Cold Takes on America.
yeah.
I haven't got a chance to watch it, but it
Uh,
looks kind of funny.
how many times are they going? Like, what is his next? Like, he's had so many damn shows. Like, he's had the Skull Ranch Challenge. He's had the
Yep.
uh, now this one, and he was part of the. Oh, he's part of another challenge, but man, he is getting every he's getting every opportunity to do a show, Greg.
And of course,
Now
he's
he needs
getting
a
all that
talk
TV
show,
money.
right? Why don't we just give him a late night talk show?
Hey, well, he's got a good start with a Broken Skull session, so he could just carry that over.
He could do it like
Um,
do you remember his ECW run when he was like trying to be the late night talk show host? I think it was very early on, and he was it was right after he got let go, but he was doing a pretty awesome job with it. I mean, with ECW's small production value as well. I mean, it probably looked like my room right here, Greg, but it was pretty interesting. You have to look those up sometime if you ever get a chance.
Nice.
But yeah,
But I can
good.
see him giving Waller the rub.
Yeah,
I don't want to see The Rock unless it's going to be a Roman related story. So to see him come back with Waller, I think would be wasting an opportunity that we've all been kind of sitting around and waiting for. Um, it doesn't like it's going to be a WrestleMania match anymore, but he can still include himself in the Bloodline story, and it needs to happen. And I think this all culminates with The Rock making his appearance and establishing himself as the true head of the table. And I think that's the last big, um, rabbit in the hat that they have to pull out as far as, twists and turns and things they can put into this bloodline story. That's the big thing they haven't uh, really touched on yet. And I'm
yeah.
sure that's for a reason. So I don't want to see The Rock back unless it's to do with the bloodline. But Stone Cold coming back and putting Wall over or Cena, absolutely.
Those are the two kind of stories I found. Was there anything else from the week, news wise, that you kind of caught your interest that you maybe wanted to throw out there for a second? Get Ryan to Raw talk.
No, just the same, kind of. I think I saw a thing about that push being given to Dominic Mysterio too, with some of the vets coming back to,
Yeah. Well, we
you know,
we still haven't seen Carlito. Now that's been talked about. I think he was supposed to be on July 7th, but then the big Roman Reigns Bloodline storyline happened, and he wasn't on last night. So, you do wonder if Carlito comes back in some way. But then again, it sounds like he's more for LWO stuff. So, and Dominic has been, killing it. So we'll see who can, step up next for Dominic. But yeah, let's get into some Raw news. Let me make this a little bit bigger for my small eyes. There we go. Finn Balor, teased walking out on Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, Greg, but everything was, what did he say? Kula Dula, or whatever he said at the end of it. Because the Judgment Day stood tall, Greg. The Judgment Day had quite the week, right? They stood tall at the end of Raw by beating Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. By the way, there was some backstage disagreement about that match. It was kind of clunky. We saw a couple moments, Greg, with like Sami Zayn and Finn trying to hit moves and just weren't on the same page.
mhm.
I don't know if they were trying to rush things or things, what was going on, but I thought at the end of the day everything worked for what they needed to do. And then we saw NXT. Finn Balor pinned Carmelo Hayes, and the Judgment Day stood tall there, Greg. So this just means that we're breaking up the Judgment Day at some point. They're not going to be hunky dory all this time, Greg. But you got to put that tease out there too. So, and we could kind of talk about too with Seth Rollins coming out with the Buffalo wings. So I think were they in Buffalo? I
Yeah,
can't
they were
remember.
in
Okay,
Buffalo.
and that's what I thought. Okay, which was yeah. Thought he was going to drop the whole plate there for a second, Greg, because he was very Paris with that almost like a waiter with a tray, and I'm like, dude, you better better get a better handle on that. Looks like he dropped a little bit of it anyway. So uh, Seth Rollins does his thing. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens come out to even the odds. But what do you think about kind of the beginning and the end of the match for the Judgment Day? Rolling ahead, but I still think the writing is there that we're breaking it up sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it was good for what it was. I liked the segments. I liked how the main event played out. Didn't expect that outcome. The Judgment Day was going to be up to their normal shenanigans
Yeah,
and, you know, taking, underhanded, routes to victory. But, at the end, you figured Kevin, Sammy, and uh, Seth were going to find a way to get through it. But I like that they spun it so that the Judgment Day actually got the win. Um, there's no reason to keep, Sammy and KO, as this unstoppable force. I think that's more to. It's better to take a couple L's along the way to show their relatability.
yeah,
Um, so they can afford, a loss in a six
And they
man.
had won quite a bit in like they won some title defenses. So yeah, it's probably due, to kind of set up their next challenger.
Yeah, and so nothing wrong with it. Like how it played out, and definitely looks like the implosion is around the corner, especially with Priest shoving that briefcase in Finn's face every time he gets a chance, and
Yep.
on the very low key, but it's going to be a spot of tension until it's probably going to boil over. So
Especially
you can see it coming, but we enjoy watching that build happen.
especially if you move ahead and maybe do Finn Balor and Carmelo Hayes for the NXT title. Obviously, he pinned the champion, Greg. So why not? And then maybe you have Damian Priest show up and ruin again, a title shot that he got, and let Finn completely snap on it. Maybe like we said, JD McDonough's still there, Greg. We haven't seen any more teases of him, which is good because then that makes it even more surprising when he does come out. So Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle picked up a win. It's 3-on-2, Greg. We need a third member. I'm hearing voices in my head.
Oh, really?
That's who we need, right?
Hey, I would be here for it. I just saw something that Rep Theory has um, reprised the Voices in My Head song. They've updated it. So, just doing that out of nowhere, or,
It's a matter of time.
could that be leading to something else? So that would be great if that ended up being what it is, because
Yeah.
we've missed Randy, and um, he'd be the perfect third person. So
And
I'll be watching for that.
Gunther today hit 400 days as IC champion. 55 days away, Greg, from Honky Tonk Man. Is he breaking that record?
Yeah, he's breaking it.
Yeah. I mean, him and Drew, though, at SummerSlam. Now, you argue maybe, I feel like you need to go there for SummerSlam, but then again, you could do 3-on-3, but him and Drew should be a banger of a match. I don't know if it ups Sheamus and Gunther, Greg, because Drew's not that much different than Sheamus, but still, I think kind of got to renew Drew in the ring. So hopefully that delivers, right?
I agree. I like it from the sense that Drew is bigger than Gunther is.
Yeah.
And so, how is he going to overcome this one?
Mm-hmm.
And still, it's going to be, it's going to be like the old monster movies and glasses breaking off the side of the buildings kind of impact between these two. So I'm super excited for it. It's going to have to go a long way to top what Gunther and Sheamus did. But if there's somebody else that
We'll do it.
put in that category, it would be Drew.
We do have the Godzilla new movie coming out soon too, Greg. So who knows? Maybe they'll give a little plug. I think it's called Godzilla One. I think it is, or Godzilla Zero, or something like that. So it's
I
kind
didn't
of a
even heard
brand.
about that. I'm Team
Yeah,
Godzilla all the way, man.
there's a new Godzilla trailer out there somewhere. So, like I said, I can't remember. There's a number after that. I can't remember if it's one or zero. I've noticed there've been a lot of new trailers coming out. So just keep an eye on that. We kind of brought up, how Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens came back to even the odds for, Seth Rollins. How about the Logan Paul Ricochet build, Greg? Ricochet finally got to hit his ever awesome move of, the dive outside the ropes, almost like an Avengers looking, almost, like an Avengers looking move, right? Um, I'm pretty into this. I still think Ricochet's mic skills, Greg, are but the crowd's buying it, and that's probably the bigger deal. So, it's been a while since the crowd's really got behind Ricochet like this. So, if Ricochet doesn't step up after this, it's kind of like the Shayna uh, Ronda stuff, Greg. Is kind of all for naught. I mean, I still would love to see Logan Paul and LA Knight, but I think this is bigger for Ricochet to do.
Yeah, I love it because this is what I've been talking about for weeks is that, Ricochet is amazing in the ring, but we need to see him on the stick. And showing his character and personality and getting us to buy into him on an emotional level. This is what
Yeah.
I've been talking about. Get on the stick, talk your talk, and let's see if you can get over with the people on, at an emotional level. Get people buying in with you. And
And they
so
are.
I loved it that he's finally getting a chance to do that. See him standing in the ring, and he had his, playing clothes on, not wrestling gear. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, here we go. We're gonna get to hear from Ricochet.
Hmm.
So I loved it. He did okay job. I give him a B minus maybe
Sure.
for
Yeah.
for that
I mean,
promo. It was
you know,
it was not great, but it was decent.
and like I said, at the
So
end of the game, the crowd got behind it.
right, they did. They tried to appeal to them on a personal level
Yeah.
and just show, kind of who the man that he is. And I was waiting for that flip because
Hmm.
he did
We haven't
that
seen that in
in
a while.
the promo with Velveteen Dream in NXT,
Yep.
and he did the flip out of the ring, laid it right on his feet, right in front of Velveteen. It was perfect placement, and it was amazing. And so I kind of was thinking of that move, and then he went and did it, and he stuck the landing again. He, took one step forward, but
And
he's
street clothes.
in street clothes. So he,
I mean,
he nailed
those
it.
pants were
So
pretty tight, Greg. So it takes a little extra oomph to get out of it. So
exactly, it's hard to do in skinny jeans, but he did it.
yeah.
Um, and it's going to be like Ronda and Shayna because nobody wants Ronda to win in their rivalry. Nobody's going to want Logan Paul to
Yeah.
win in this rivalry. And so people are going to be, running to Ricochet's side to endorse him. And, he's going to get that Logan Paul rub. The outsider, nobody wants to see in the ring.
Hmm.
And it's good for Ricochet, but we need this to carry on a little bit. Give him more mic time, give him more time to get comfortable with doing a real singles program against somebody whose star is brighter than his right now, and that's going to elevate him. So I'm ready for it.
Zoe Stark defeated Becky Lynch. How about Trish Stratus going blast from the past with the mask, Greg? And if she's not ready to go for SummerSlam, I mean, I think you could pull off the tag team match. You know, give Becky Lynch somebody, but I think we still or we'll see. I think she'll. I think her nose will be okay. Or you just keep playing up that face shield, and she can use it somehow. But we're definitely getting Becky versus Trish at SummerSlam. I think is what the plan is. So uh, how we feeling about that so far?
It'll be good. It's not going to be my favorite match at all, but I think it's a good idea that they're having Zoe getting the win on Becky and building her up as a legitimate challenger to her
Yeah,
and somebody who can really beat her.
yeah.
It's going to take the tricks and everything, but Zoe has a pinfall on Becky now, so you keep playing on that. Then if Trish doesn't come through, having Zoe in there in her place isn't such a bad idea because she's got wins on Becky, and Becky's going to need to avenge that at some point. So there's a fail safe built in case Trish can't go.
The Viking Raiders stole Maxine Dupree's Letterman jacket. All right, that's that happened. I mean,
Yeah,
I did like the graduation ceremony. It was a lot of fun. You gotta love Maxine trying to tease. I was like, oh crap! I hope she has clothes. I hope she has something underneath that thing because the way she was teasing it looked like she's gonna reveal more, Greg. But Maxine is really coming along though. A little long for her promo, I thought, to get to nowhere. I don't know if
yeah,
maybe the Viking Raiders were still getting in their war gear, Greg, and they needed a few extra seconds, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, that happened. Uh, nothing, nothing to take. We're still doing, we're still getting Viking Raiders. We're still getting Alpha Academy. And I guess speaking of NXT, Greg, sounds like Creed Brothers, even though they lost to Loser Leaves NXT, they're staying down on NXT, which is stupid. So there goes my idea of them coming up because somebody mentioned there's the two Schism members that were dressed up. That's the Creed brothers. So not really sure how they're going to play that off. That they, we're supposed to leave, but they're still here. But
Hmm.
yeah. Anyways, so Shayna Baszler defeated Emma. I mean, we've talked about the Ronda stuff. How about I want to get to the Miz and Ciampa real quick because you had Bronson Reed involved. So that means Ciampa needs somebody, Greg, and we know who that should be, right?
Yep.
So we should be a little do it yourself pretty soon, DIY soon.
Hey, I love it. Absolutely bring them back because they were mega over when they were in NXT, and there's no reason they can't um,
Recapture.
recreate that magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't need the Miz. You need Bronson Reed kind of loosely affiliated with the Miz for now. Like I don't think you don't need an all out partnership. Even though the Miz did get help from Bronson Reed, I thought at the very beginning, correct? When Bronson Reed first appeared on the scene, I thought
Yeah,
he
he
helped
got
him.
helped with the during the Dexter Loomis.
So you
Um,
got you got that affiliation already built in.
right.
So I skipped over Cody Rhodes and Brock. I still think we're going to get some last man standing or I quit match. I mean, we got to get some stipulation, right?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a rubber match, so it's got to be something, some little extra put on
And
it.
I know you
So
want Hell in a Cell, but I still think we're too close to the last one.
yeah, you're probably
Which was
right.
Edge and Finn at WrestleMania. So,
A cage is still good
okay,
as long
yeah,
as
you could do, yeah.
a regular cage or like say a last man standing, something like that. But
I mean, I don't think
something
we could just have
above,
a straight up match.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Just we had the wrestle match, we've had the brawl, and now we need to raise the stakes because we've gone one level above each match. So
so now we need something.
it
And
needs
I
a
believe
big,
next week is in Atlanta, right? I thought they said, which is close to Cody Rhodes' hometown because
yeah.
Brock will be there. So, sorry, Cody, you're getting beat down in your hometown or hometown adjacent, as they say. And Chelsea Green picked up the win, Greg, with Sonya Deville. Caden and Katana are still being looked. I still think they're looking pretty good in defeats, though. They're not just getting squashed. They, got the shots in the tag team title. So I'm not worried about them, Greg.
No, they just got here. They're going to be fine. They're getting some good ring time in. They get good exposure with the universe.
And the crowd
So
seems to be into them. I
yeah,
think kids really love them with the Rockets and all that stuff. So, and then we did bring up the main event. So how about NXT? We saw Andre Chase and Duke Hudson back together. Greg, they defeated Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey. Any thoughts on that match? Thea Hale putting on the Kimura, I believe. So Thea looking good in her young age of 19, which is crazy to think. But good to see Chase you back together. Do we still think Drew's out or Duke is out there soon, Greg, or are we just going to kind of keep playing this up?
yeah, I love the finish to the match. Um, but that's the part that still confuses me because Duke has never fit in as a member of Chase U. So I was like, okay, when is the other shoe finally going to drop? And it's still not happening. So I
And,
still
and
expect it to happen.
yeah,
Um, it's just a matter of when and how. So
and I guess because it is so far away from where we thought it was, it might be a more surprise when it happens. So, Core Jade picked up a win. Probably about time for her, maybe to get moving in the right direction. Um, just have her. She hasn't really. There's times when I feel like she's clicking, Greg. I just don't know if this. I don't know how this because you have Tiffany Stratton kind of playing this. Bratty character. You also have Core Jade kind of playing it. Is that maybe too much of the same thing?
I think it is. They're a little too similar, even though they are.
I mean, they look different and they act like, but I don't know. There's still some of the same difference or same thing
Yeah,
mannerisms going on. even
Yeah, I
the way
agree.
they deliver, like because you have Cora and they're both young, so of course they're both going to have that same cadence about them, if that makes sense.
True. They still haven't come into their own, promo wise and being able to, craft your character to be unique from everybody else yet. It's still kind of stock, but
And,
they'll get there. They're still very young and very new to the game.
and of course, we both felt old. I don't know if you saw this, Greg, or if we talked about it, but Ryan Satin was talking with Tiffany Stratton about Limp Bizkit, and she said, "Who was that?"
Yep, that was great. I love that part.
And I feel old. Well, I've always felt old, Greg, but I really felt old then. So I
I
think
did
we
too
talked.
for a moment for what it's worth because I've seen Limp Bizkit in person.
Did you see them recently? Did you see them recently?
Not recently. It was probably
Okay.
about 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, they're still
So
out there playing. They were
when
at
Tiffany
Lollapalooza.
Stratton was still in diapers, probably.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, she. I mean, she probably. But it's also that thing like, well, I know the Beatles, Greg, and I wasn't even close to being born when the Beatles were at their height. You know what I mean? It's that weird like you never even heard one like never heard break stuff like anywhere like or she hasn't watched like WrestleMania, whatever that was, when they performed
Yeah.
not once, not twice, three times. Like they were WWE's favorite band, Greg. Limp Bizkit, like they performed three times, like she's never seen that WrestleMania. But anyways, so oh Tiffany, but she defeated the Ivy Nile. Uh, yeah. How about Dragunov getting the win over Braun Breaker? Braun is growing out the sideburns. He's got the tan, Greg, as Matt Cardone would say. He's rocking the Hulk Hogan '98 tan because Braun Breaker's looking dark. And
He is. I noticed that, but I was
I'm
good for
liking
this
the
match.
sideburn look. Like the sideburns are starting to grow in. Maybe he's doing the old school Triple H thing.
That or he wants to do like his dad, because dad
That's
was
right. Yeah.
rocking the sideburns
Yeah.
when he was an active wrestler. So
Yeah.
you know maybe he's trying to mirror that before he comes up to the main roster. But
Grim Dog or what they call the Gremlin Dog or whatever they called him, the Grim
Dogface Gremlin, that's it.
Dog Face Gremlin. I knew it was those three words in some order. My memories are not great.
But
Stacks pulled the old. I think we called this Greg. He pulled the double double turn and defeats Joe Coffey. So he gets Tony D'Angelo back. Not really sure what the D'Angelo if he was injured or they just wanted Stacks to kind of carry the load for a little bit, Greg. But we'll still. I mean, we still need a third person for the family there, right? Because you have Gallus with three members, so not really
right.
sure who that's going to be.
Well, yeah, that story, that part built into where he met somebody in the joint
That's
that
right. Oh, that's right. Yes.
that he can have join his team and
Yeah.
insert
Whoever that is.
PC character here. And
And
that's a new family member.
then Finn Balor and Damian Priest got the win over Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes. Judgment Day rolling strong for two straight nights, Greg. That's there's definitely they definitely got to show them strong because, like we said, the fall will even be greater. So, what do you think about the last match of the evening?
It's a good match. I think that it's right to keep the Judgment Day rolling before the big fall. I still kind of wish Carmelo could have got his little payback, but I think it's coming. Maybe after the implosion, Finn starts come down and just take your NXT championship. You can't beat me. And then there's a built-in story because he's pinned Carmelo twice already in a 2 week span.
Yeah.
So um,
Could you put Finn in a three-way and dragging off Carmelo and Finn at Great American Bash?
ooh, that would be fun. I would definitely sign up for that.
And it gives Finn in the match. Carmelo could pin Dragunov, and it keeps Finn safe. So it's a week before SummerSlam, but we saw Sasha down there at the Great American Bash. That was Keith Lee's coming out party, Greg. It didn't last
True.
long, but that was his two title reigns. So, who did was it Sasha and Io that went 1-on-1,
I think you're right. Yeah, and
or
Oscar
was
came
that
down to help out.
in your house? I remember she jumped off the house. Maybe that wasn't. Maybe I'm thinking of something different, but it was Sasha and somebody. But anyway, so I know Sasha was at a Great American Bash. I'm really not of the my producer's not helping me out today, Greg, with my research. So we'll just get into SmackDown. What are we doing with Charlotte, Bianca, and Asuka? Because now we have Charlotte and Bianca going 1-on-1. What is Asuka going to do for SummerSlam, Greg?
Well, there's still time for a new challenger to come out. And it's like we thought was going to happen is that Charlotte and Bianca are going to keep getting each other's way, and Asuka's going to get the wins as a result.
Mm-hmm.
I still think there's going to be a triple threat match since, they're causing each other to lose, that they're going to find a way to make this a triple threat with Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte because you still need more build up with the 1-on-1 Bianca and Charlotte. So I think it's too soon to take the belt from Asuka, and the best way to put all these pieces together is to literally put them together. So, and that's a SummerSlam worthy match. So I think that's what you should do.
I mean, I'm not kind of thinking ahead or kind of thinking out loud, but you could probably have Io Sky. You maybe have Bailey say Io's going to cash in, ahead of time, and maybe we get Io and Asuka at SummerSlam. And then also that gives you the out of if Io loses, well then she's mad at Bailey, and then we've finally destroyed Damage Control, especially if you have Bailey and Shotzi going at it. So I think I'm gonna call that, Greg. I'm calling my shot. Bailey is going to call out Asuka for Io and say she's cashing in, like for ahead of time.
Okay.
I mean, it feels like the women never hold the titles or the briefcase is that long, Greg, other than Carmella, because I don't think they were ready for Carmella when she had it, But Bailey cashed in the same night. Alexa cashed in, or did Alexa cash in the same night? Liv did. So there's been or maybe soon after, Asuka cashed in because Becky got pregnant. So there he goes the next night. Because Asuka, remember, won the. They'll never do it again, Greg. But man, that one was a lot of fun. The Stamford, Connecticut Money in the Bank match.
Yeah.
I think because we're seeing it. Let's get into Bailey real quick, and then we can kind of catch other things. But the Bailey defeated Zelina Vega. The Shotzi promo, though, we called this too, Greg. I think Shotzi wanted to shave her head. I forgot about, and everybody brought this up, her sister's going through chemo, and she's already shaved her head. So now Shotzi is doing it, for her, or, in support of her, which is, now you really want Shotzi to just kick Bailey's ass in a way. And for Shotzi's sister to, of course, come out victorious against cancer. So, because, I'd brought up, it'd be awesome to do hair versus hair. But this is probably even stronger. Just think they let, Shotzi do this on a promo to show your support for family. I mean, that's a Triple H move. I don't see Vince saying, hell yeah, you can do that. But Bailey and Shotzi should be a good little, mid-card match, though. And just, I'll be curious to see what they can add to it, as far as, making it, making it out of control, or whoever's in control. So, what do you think about the Shotzi promo, though? I guess now that you know what I just threw out there.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it before I knew about that, but that's the awesome, tribute she got to pay on air, in front of millions of people. And she seemed a little more manic and a little more,
what she was probably back in
craze.
the day.
Yeah, and the what she's been doing leading up to now has been kind of blah,
Yeah,
and that this is what she's doing. She doesn't really is not really into it, or doesn't get
yeah,
to portray the character she wants to portray. And maybe now she's getting to do that because that that promo was a whole different tone, and getting to shave her hair live set a different tone. And she came across a little more fierce, a little more crazed, and a little more actually believable in that moment than she ever has before. So I like it. I want to see what she looks like once, next week, and all you know, the hair
cleaned
is in
up.
its final style. If she's
Yeah,
really bald, or she's super buzz cut, or whatever she's still going to do. And now I'll see how she comes out and how she wrestles with Bailey. So, they got my interest.
Pretty Deadly defeated Sheamus and Rich Holland. Jey Uso, he's getting some time to kind of carry his load right on this, carry the load. Attacking Paul Heyman and Solo, Greg, getting the upper hand. I know the story is there for Jay to win, but it just can't happen yet. It's got to be Roman pinning him, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a big enough hill to climb yet with him winning. He's got the 1, 2, 3 already. This has to go like Brock and Cody, just in reverse. He's
Well,
got the
that's what you
first
got. You
10.
got the Cody factor. Like Cody's got to finish the story. Like we got
Yeah,
to get there.
and that's the same thing Jay has to do. I think this one is going to be Roman coming out on top, and then we're going to have a even bigger match to settle the score once and for all, and
I know.
that could be where the big change happens. So
And even if Jay or Jimmy help Cody somehow, I mean, I don't know that that's probably adding too much to it. But yeah, yeah. So, speaking of the United States Championship, Greg, this is LA Knight or nothing, right?
yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, some people say they fumbled it with him not winning Money in the Bank. I mean, I never thought he was going to win Money in the Bank anyways. So, but now you have the U.S. title that's kind of there, Greg. Yeah, it's got to be LA Knight at SummerSlam winning. And if he doesn't win
Absolutely.
there, then we got to know what's going on.
Well, just right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to do it. You got to do it. The
yeah,
dude is so over it. Every week, those pops are getting bigger and bigger. And, I'm loving hearing it every week.
yeah.
And everybody's with it. Everybody's chanting his name. Everybody's down with the promos. And there's even signs in the audience now. And he's got merch. He's actually got a shirt that looks good. It's got the yeahs all over it. And it's just getting started. He's going to be bigger and bigger. And it's time to put a title on him to cash in on this momentum he's got. So
You don't even have to turn a baby face. You just let him keep doing what he's doing.
right.
So, SummerSlam has got to be the official coming out party of LA Knight. Because Theory, he's lost all. He beat John Cena, and then it's just nothing, Greg. So it's got to be LA Knight for the win. Escobar's fine in there. You keep still having Escobar, pick up wins, which is good. So, yeah. All right. Well, that is a lot of wrestling talk there for WWE. Let's take our commercial breaks, get into AEW stuff. We got not Forbidden Door, sorry. We have 3 hours tonight, Greg, of AEW programming, which is crazy. So we'll kind of take a look ahead at that. And, of course, look at the week that was for AEW and their what's going on with Warner Brothers and all that good stuff. So, quick commercial break and be right back.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSports1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322. And make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
All right. There are lots of notes about this whole Warner Brothers AEW talk. When's it going to happen? I guess the big thing is, it's got to happen soon because, like you said, Greg, and I've said, I'd really love to see just, that streaming somewhere, make it a little bit cheaper on our pocketbooks. So we don't have to, especially when you think so we're going to have All Out and All In back to back. So you're really, you're hoping expected people to spend, like 50, 60 bucks each weekend. That's $100 right there. Could All Out maybe be the streaming side, but I think we're closer because all this stuff is coming out, Greg. I mean, here's a big, huge news and notes on it. So, do you think All Out? Because it sounds like All In will be, in London on pay-per-view, but could All Out be the first streaming pay-per-view, or are we still some time away from that?
Well, personally, we hope that it's going to be sooner than later. But I don't know. It depends on how much money they're making with, this pay-per-view model.
Yeah.
I know because of, work and things like that I don't get to watch them in real time. And, that's the case for a lot of people. WWE's, switched their model and they're getting tons of viewership with Peacock and being able to, watch the replay after it's happened if you don't get to see it live. And AEW is going to do themselves a huge favor by doing the same thing, because if you miss when it airs live, unless you're going to go and pay for the replay, then you're out of that viewer, you're out of that money, and in the long run, it's going to be a better idea just to go to streaming and do it that way. And you're still going to increase your revenue because those people are going to follow up and watch the aftermath on the regular TV shows during the week. So I hope it's sooner than later, maybe All Out by the latest, but I'm not optimistic that it's going to happen sooner, just because I think it should have happened by now.
Some news or winners from last week, Greg, from Collision, which was the kind of the finals of a couple the men's Owen Hart tournament. So we had Ricky Starks moving on, we had CM Punk moving on. Who are you calling tonight, Greg? CM Punk or Ricky Starks?
All signs point to Punk. And it's that whole thing. Are they going to pull the, this is the obvious answer, so it's going to be the other one. Being that Punk just came back and, this is his show, Collision, I'm going to say Punk's going to win and see what happens.
And I'm going to go it's got to be Ricky, right? I mean, he needs more. And I can see if Punk is truly back for the right reasons, he's putting over Ricky tonight. But because it could still be a show. Because let's face it, the Owen Hart Cup means nothing. By the way, I was nitpicky, Greg. Why did Britt Baker come out with the title, but Adam Cole did not? At any point in his, timing. I thought, it's a little thing, but it's also a big thing, because it's like, well, why? I understand why Adam Cole was not in it, because we didn't know what he was. We didn't know his, his health, when he would be. That's fine. But I just thought that was weird. Like Britt Baker, I think it was 2 weeks ago, came out with the actual title, and I was like, why is she? so, so moving ahead, if you're going to win it, you got to come out with the title or don't, right? I mean, you're not carrying that cup around. I understand that. Like
Yeah,
that goes home. That gets hopefully mailed to your house. You're not taking that, through international airport. I don't know, Greg. Have you ever had to deal with a Stanley Cup coming through your airports before? I was curious
I've
if
never
that.
seen it. No, but
I was just curious if that's ever happened.
no, but being I lived in Phoenix and in Charlotte, we haven't
That's
had a sniff of the
yeah.
Stanley Cup. So
I guess Carol, the Hurricane. No, the Hurricanes didn't win it. They were in the finals one year though. Is that
I think they did win the Stanley Cup one year alone.
is that North Carolina or South? I don't know which Carolina they're for.
North Carolina.
Okay, okay. And I thought that I know. Well, of course, Vegas won it this year, but anyways, yeah, I'd be curious to see what is TSA? What do they just? Does that just go through the metal detector? Would you assume?
Yeah, I think pretty
Stanley Cup.
much. It's not like you don't know what it is, and
Yeah,
you know, half of them are going to want to take pictures of it, and so it's going to
yeah,
get. They're not going to have a problem getting it through,
yeah.
but just bring it around the side.
By its own seat, probably.
You have to
But yeah, I was gonna say that thing is pretty
buy
massive.
that thing a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, just a side note, real quick. There's an airline show back in the day, Greg, and I remember watching an episode where the woman had like a 12 or 14-month-old or something, and they were trying to pass her off as younger, and they didn't have any of the birth certificate stuff, so they had to end up buying her ticket, the baby. But anyways, I think there's a cutoff on whether you can hold the baby and not buy a ticket or yeah. But anyways, yeah, that was very eye opening to me. So yeah, Julia Hart, she just kind of sneaks under the radar, doesn't she, Greg? And I brought this up last week. Malachi Black wants the House of Black only on Collision, which I think is a pretty interesting way to
Hmm.
go about it. But then he also brought up, well, now like this is your only way to see them. So if you're a House of Black fan, what are you going to do? You're going to tune in Saturday night or watch it the next day. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But Julia Hart, Greg, what do you think about her right now?
I'm liking it. I like the dark character. I'm trying to get like I told you, I'm showing my girlfriend that getting her broke in with the all the different shows and everything. And the first time she saw Julia Hart, she called her Britney Spears. So I'm still trying to get that out of my head because now I can't help but not think about it. But the entrance is cool. The um, her ring style change has been cool, and I love the new finisher that she had for this match. So I hope she keeps that. Everything looks according to character, and so I'm really digging it. She fits in with the House of Black for sure. So I hope she keeps going with it. It's just she's what Alexa Bliss should have been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Surely Tiffany Stratton knows who Britney Spears is, by the way. But, and one other side note about Britney, Greg, she is living her best life now. Let me tell you. I see little Snapchat videos of her, and I'm like, gosh, ever since this conversation that where her dad pretty much ruled her life, or whatever that's called. I can't think of the name right now. Yeah, she's living her best life, and she's got a new book coming out, so that should be quite the read.
Yeah,
I can only
just tell her
imagine
to stop trying to chase down 7-foot basketball players.
tapping them on the shoulder. She's like 5'2", Greg, so she probably had to jump up or something to even get his attention. You know,
Right.
especially when you saw the video, she was all kind of looked like she had like a hat on over her head, sunglasses. So yeah, there was no way. But it is kind of strange that you know, in all the instances, I'm sure, this is the one of the few times that a security guard did get a little extra hands on. If you
Well, when I saw Brittany hit herself in the face,
Oh, maybe she tried
according
to
to
like
the
go up and then he probably
right.
backed her. Okay.
She smacked herself. So
And by the way, with all the great cell phones, why are all this footage always so grainy? It's
good point.
like my cell phone, I could get a good concert footage and show people the next day, and it looks like you were there. But every time we see these like TMZ videos, they're all like shot on an iPhone 4 or an iPod Touch or something, and you're like, I can't even see what's going on, and it's usually after the fact. But anyway, so Bull Called Gold, they're going to get the tag team titles tonight in the 2 out 3s fall match.
No, I think they've been getting the upper hand often enough,
And really
and
strong
this
match
is
last
where,
week.
yeah, it was a great match. Loved that finish, and it was just back and forth and tons of false finishes at the end.
Yeah.
But each one got deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole until we got that great finish. So I'm definitely here for it. See how that 2 out of 3 falls goes. It's going to be 1-1, but I'm still sticking with FTR pulling it off, even though I wouldn't be mad if Bullet Club wins.
Wonder if that will main event tonight just because of the success of last week. Or do you think we still get the men's cup? The Owen Hart men's probably main eventing tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Owen, just given they're going to want to give all the significance to the importance of the Owen tournament.
Open
So
up with the women's one. Probably put
yeah,
this 2 out 3s fall in the middle. And then welcome back Scorpio Sky. That was a name, Greg. I'd been wondering where he's at. One of the few names that's kind of still around too, right? Because we had Joey Janela gone, who's one of the first names that they signed. You have Brian Pillman Jr. gone now. Scorpio Sky. I'd like to see him get some momentum back because I always found him pretty well. And hard to believe, SCU was the first tag team champions of AEW.
that's
Frankie
true. I remember
Kazarian
that
gone.
though.
Frankie Kazarian gone, and he's doing his thing. But
Yep.
any thoughts on Scorpio Sky? Kind of, would you like to see him find some momentum back?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved him. He's a great wrestler. I'd love to see what he can do, what side of the fence he's going to play, heel or face, and um, he's a lot more serious, a lot more um, focused than he was when he was with SCU or doing the whole thing with Dan Lambert and his crew. So I'm curious to see how he's going to
Get that
deal
out of my
because
memory, Greg.
yeah, you're welcome for that.
That thing. Whew.
Yeah, it was a mess, but now he's back and now he's by himself and now he's gonna all Scorpio all the time. So I'm interested to see how he performs because he's a great wrestler.
And he's good in skits with Dr. Shelby and Kane and Dana Bryan because he was in that scene in one of those scenes in the therapy sessions where there we go. Some Dynamite stuff. Jericho defeated Commander. Is Jericho, Greg, going to join Don Callis' family?
Well, considering Don Callis' family is the BCC, I would say no.
That's what's weird.
At
I
least,
can't tell. I guess they're going for Don Callis really forming his own thing, right?
that's what it sounds like, but every time he talks about his family, he's
Right, but
standing next to the BCC and John Moxley and everybody. So, like, who's this family? And it does sound like a new faction maybe forming if he's not merging with the BCC. So, I don't like how they haven't made that clear already. It's just like, who's the family and are you in league with BCC 100% or not? Because he's standing in their promos, he's, nice buddy with them, but he hasn't really officially said anything about who this family is. So, but right now I'm going to say no because who else is there? There's Takeshita and nobody.
Don Callis.
So
Don Callis with the long note entrance music, Greg. Just the I think it's a G.
I know I'm expecting the Claudio's music to to kick in when I hear that,
It just,
because he that single drum beat and then and
or you
it
think
never
of
happens.
Right to Center when they just had the oh man, that's it. How about I think the surprise, Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia picking up the win over Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. I kind of figured they go to the finals, Greg, but and then we also saw Sammy Guevara sticking in the ring with Darby Allin. So yeah, we got to break up Sammy Guevara from there sooner rather than later from Jericho's stuff, especially that Jericho's kind of shifting into his own thing. But were you surprised with the win by Guevara and Garcia in this one, Greg?
Yeah, I was, because I was starting to feel Darby and Orange as the winners. And I noticed Miz running into Max and Adam Cole, but talk about fantastic matches waiting to happen. That would be one of them. Um, so I'm really surprised that they lost, but I understand it. It's things that still need to play out, but great match, and wish that the Orange and Darby hadn't lost, but I'll take it and see where it goes from here.
Well, speaking of MJF and Adam Cole, promo of the night, Greg, with that that segment they shot in wherever that was, the bar, and then to play the video games together, and then the MJF show his his acting side. Give him an Emmy, as they say in WWE, Greg. But is MJF and Adam Cole going to get the win ultimately against Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia to get a tag team title shot?
Yes, they will.
Yeah, I think they will.
It's like, what point does one turn on the other, and this isn't the big enough moment for it.
Yeah.
It's
got to be in the tag team title
match. In the championship match itself, yeah. So yeah, I do think they're going to win and beat Sammy and Garcia, but love watching this play out, and it definitely wins the segment of the night with Max and Adam Cole. Those two are amazing, and they've gone down this road before with Max in the with Jericho, but they spun it a little bit differently.
Because what's funny is I find it believable that MJF might have not had friends growing up, right? How sad is that? Like, you could legit see him, maybe being a little outcast, just with his personality now. So, Ruby Soho defeated Booty Blue, as I'm going to start calling her, because every time I see Sky Blue clips on Twitter, Greg, guess what it is? It is her derriere. So I think a good new nickname. I really want Sky to pick up the win, by the way. But this is all Ruby's to lose tonight against Willow Nightingale. Like, Ruby's got to win that Owen Hart women's side of things, right?
Yeah. Willow's had her shining moment already, even though she's already lost her title. But this has shenanigans written all over it, and Ruby walking out with the championship.
How about Nick Wayne? What a debut against Swerve Strickland. AEW does have the market on the 20 and under club, Greg, right now, because Billy Stark's 18. You got Nick Wayne, fresh out of high school at 18. Sky Blue, I think, is 21. So they are really building for the future. You got -1. You got little Brody Lee Jr. sitting at I think he's 12. There's also you can't forget the Hardy Clan, Greg. We got 4 of them down there. 4 kids under 7 or 8. So in about 10 years we'll have a bunch of Hardy boys running around. But we forgot to bring up that Swerve cost Darby Allin in a way in the match. Because looks like we're getting Darby Allin and Swerve Strickland, even though we're still not getting our Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee match, Craig. But that's a whole nother story. So, what do we think about the debut of Nick Wayne? I thought he really looked like he belonged. it looked like he's been wrestling for years, which he has. So
Yeah, like I said, third generation wrestler. Just turned 18
mhm.
as of like that week or something like that. But Kid was impressive. I sat there and watched the whole match just to see how he came across, and he looked good. He looked comfortable. He looked fluid with his moves and everything. He missed a couple small spots, but to be expected. Um, and I saw he and Swerve had some previous history,
Yeah.
and they alluded to that in the match. So at least somebody he's familiar with, and um, it looks better with Swerve veteran and somebody who's destroyed other talent in a lot less time. And I like the match. It was really good. It showed the kid had what it takes. He can go, and I'm glad he didn't win the match. To be honest with you, that ending looked brutal with Swerve doing like the arm break kind of
Mhm.
angle, that old Pentagon from Lucha Underground.
Who?
Um, remember him?
Remember him? Phoenix, Ray Phoenix? Is he still thing?
So
Well, we did see somebody back at the end of the night, Greg, that I had forgotten about. So that was good to see.
yeah, but props to Nick Wayne. You could tell he could fly, he could wrestle, he can do all the technical stuff, and he could sell because
Yeah.
watching that, you did look like his shoulder was
Oh yeah.
smashed with that move, and props to Swerve too for making it look so good. So you can
And
tell
learning
those
from
two.
Darby Allin, Greg, I think he can learn how to sell.
Absolutely. So I want to see more of this kid, and great first time out, and I'm glad he didn't win, and that's just going to make him more of a sympathetic character, and
Yeah. And when he does get that win, it's gonna be bigger,
right.
especially if it's over Swerve down the road. So. And that was the thing. I'm like, do you have him win his first match? Probably not. But then again, you know, and then you don't almost want Darby to help him win. So it's that weird, like you had to have him lose. So,
Yeah.
and that was technically our main event, Greg, because then we come out with, all these shenanigans. So the Elite, or sorry, the BCC announced their fifth member, a certain bastard came back finally, Greg, which I completely forgot about Pac. I'll be honest. So good to see him back. And, I forgot he has history with Kenneth, as he called it, in the ring. And then the Elite get their guy back, the Golden Lover, in Ibushi. So it's going to be really interesting to see, Ibushi. I think he's done random style matches, Greg. Like there's stuff on the internet with him. I think there was this match where it was raining and it was an outdoor match and he had to wrestle in the rain with somebody and they were on top of cars and like it was crazy. So he's done that type of stuff, but Pac, I don't know if I don't know if we've seen him in too many kind of hardcore stuff, lately. So I think this is gonna be really. I don't know which way to call it. Like either team should get the win.
Yeah.
So what was your
First,
takeaways on all that the final segment?
well, first, I I I remember that Pac is one of those guys that I wonder what happened to him,
Yeah,
because I love me some Pac. That
yeah,
guy is amazing, and since he came over from WWE to AEW, we got to see the real Pac, the unleashed Pac, um, and he's so much better than Neville ever was.
yeah.
So, but he's been gone so long. Every now and then I would think about, I was like, "Where's Pac?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy to see him back now. He looks amazing. He didn't take any days off. Chugging beer, eating donuts, because the guy looks even more ripped than he did before. And like I said, he has that history with Kenny. They've had some banger matches.
Mm-hmm.
So I love he's in there with the BCC because he'll fit right in.
Yeah,
I think they should just make him a member because he definitely fits in with, you know, the rest of them.
Unless he's Don Callis' family.
True, that could be a case too. So he's the perfect call for the BCC side, and then Ibushi, unless he was at Forbidden Door last year or one of the other Forbidden Doors, when I saw the tape play, I was like, okay, who's this guy? So they're gonna have a lot of work as far as introducing him to the masses, the AEW masses that don't watch New Japan and we know his name, but we haven't seen him wrestle. But we know he's a megastar. To steal a phrase, he's a megastar in Japan, and so I know that much. But I can't think of one match that I've seen with him in it, unless he was in one of those Forbidden Doors, and I have to go back and watch again. But
well, plus you wonder if this is a one-off, or will
right.
we see the Ibushi is all elite afterwards? I'm kind of thinking it's a one-off for now, Greg.
Right, and that's what it feels like. And so he's the X match. Like, how is he gonna fit in this match? Because everybody else, we know how they fit,
Yeah.
but he's the one. It's like, okay, who's this guy? And I don't know.
Almost get them win and then sail off into the sunset. So
right. And Don Callis has big roots in Japan, obviously,
yeah.
and so maybe there's a turn coming, and he's part of the family. So maybe there's another wrinkle they could add to it. So. The sides are filled out, so I'm ready to see this match. And, this pretty much tells me what side I'm going to go with. But
who are you going with?
BCC for sure. Pat is the perfect person to put in there. He is equal to the level of violence that the BCC is used to dishing out, if not more. So he's the perfect addition. I don't know about Ibushi being on the elite side and how he fits in. He looks same thing, like a flamboyant kind of pretty boy. If his name is the Golden Lover, then there you go.
Him and Kenny Omega were the tag team as the Golden Lover.
Okay. So
and he teamed up with the Elite, so that's why you got Golden Elite. Then you also have Bullet Club Gold, Greg. Well, there we go. Bullet Club Golden Elite.
Okay, so
featuring, But anyways.
But yeah, there's even more reason why I'm pulling for the BCC, because they just look like that's the five right there.
Yeah, I think I probably do give them a slight edge because of Pac. I think Pac is the X factor in getting them. How about some Rampage stuff? Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes keep picking up wins. Greg, yay!
Yeah.
Taya, what do we think about Taya lately? She's going for the title tonight in Battle of the Belts 7. Are they going to stop the numbers, Greg, eventually for Battle of the Belts, or are we just going to make it a new WrestleMania thing?
They'll probably keep it just to be weird.
Yeah.
At this point, there's no point in doing it. But
Taya and Tony Storm tonight. I assume Tony Storm is going to win.
Just because I love my girl Taya so much, I'm gonna call for an upset.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Lance Archer is going to face Orange Cassidy. Is this the night that Orange Cassidy's luck runs out?
It would fit that this would be the time, but I'm still going to say no. Orange still finds a way to win.
I think he finds a way to win until. I almost wonder if they could play up like, could Cassidy just forfeit the title, just like I'm tired of defending it here.
That would be a great Orange way to do it.
Like hand it to Tony and just say throw a tournament, something like that. So Takeshita picked up a win and Will Nightingale picked up a win. Let me look ahead. So we're looking at Ruby Soho, Will Nightingale. Who are you calling?
Ruby.
Yeah, I think that's all Ruby. We're split on CM Punk and Ricky Starks. And then are we both saying FTR tonight?
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's also going to be Battle of the Belts. So Luchasaurus versus Shawn Spears, Greg.
Yeah, it's Luchasaurus.
And then Tony Storm, you said you're going to pull the trigger on Taya. Does she win the title or does she win the match? And the title.
I think Taya wins the match.
Okay, like DQ or something.
Not the title. Yeah.
Like the Outcast get involved. And that probably happens too because you want them to kind of carry this feud out. And then, I think Orange Cassidy keeps rolling. I just so this is our 3-hour block of wrestling tonight. It's a lot going on tonight, Greg. So should be kind of fun to watch and sit back and have a good Saturday night in. So last call. Let me bring up something in the background. Hope it's not too loud. Oh yeah. Anyways, there is a little taste of Superkick Party by the great band. Goodbye, good guy, bad guy. So, anyways, Greg.
Okay.
Any last call for the day? Any last call?
One of the more entertaining little segments I saw this week was Harley Cameron from QTV.
To bring that up. How about that? She was throwing bars.
She was. It was very impressive. I was like, "What? Wait!" I rewound it.
I kept waiting
about
until
3 times.
Fall apart.
No, but she had the supersonic flow. I was like, "Wow, okay, listen to this."
She was rapping better than I could ever rap in my life.
So is Harley Cameron greater than Max Caster on the mic?
Yeah. We gotta see Harley Cameron do it in the ring. Because if you can do different takes, right? With a recorded segment.
True.
You can mess like Max does. You got to give Max the edge because he's doing it on the fly, and you can tell too because I feel like there's those pauses. It's not like he's has it ready to go. So, especially because and luckily the crowd helps out when they go, oh. So you got that pregnant pause to like, okay, I'm gonna think. So I got to give Max the edge. I mean, because if they do an in-ring segment, they're probably gonna make her fall apart, which is fine because that's probably her character. So
I'm curious to see where that goes because those bars were clean. They were clean.
The one that falls for her.
Huh?
Could that be the breakup of the Acclaimed? Maybe instead of Bowens, because Max is not gay as far as I know, Greg. So maybe Max is the one.
That's a good point.
Daddy asked, could she want a little older gentleman?
Well, she called him a bowl of gravy, so a bag of gravy.
Didn't call her daddy. She did not use daddy in the sexualized way for him. So maybe not.
In the last line, she said, "I just made y'all my sons." I'm like, that's so great. So it's man, I was down because I did not see that coming, and she got me. I was like, okay, I see it, I feel it. So
like I said, I just kept joking. I'm like, oh, it's gonna fall apart soon, and it just kept going. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's really doing it. So she's kind of got her flow down, as they say. So
B-Fab, I hope you're somewhere taking notes.
Oh, B-Fab. Top flopper. So, all right. Sports wise, really we're kind of in the doldrums. We got Summer League finishing up soon. Baseball's swinging. You could check out Just a Bit Outside. I believe they'll be on soon. I don't know what's going on with I think our state of basketball usually rolls back a little bit during this time, Greg. So football season will be here before we know it, though. So that's always a good little time. But we're rolling through to Great American Bash. We got that 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, 2 Sundays. That'll be kind of different. A Sunday pay-per-view. We'll have to get used to that for a hot minute. But then August 5th will be SummerSlam. the last Saturday will be All In, or last Sunday either of back to back AEW pay per views. So and then we're rolling for Payback and excited for Fastlane. I did get tickets for that, Greg. So
Nice.
we bought tickets for that. We had to find a little different section. We were not wanting to spend as much. Floor seats, obviously, we definitely bypassed that. Then the next section, we were still like a little higher price point than we wanted. So mid level, but it's still good. So we'll see what
Nice.
Fastlane brings, and maybe McAfee might make an appearance, Greg, because that's his hometown. Be kind of fun to have him do something there. So other than that, anything else for the good of the matter?
Well, it's almost fantasy football draft season,
It is.
so get ready for that. My Phoenix Suns are still killing it and with making moves. We are moving and shaking. And for a team with no money, they have signed some ballers. So I am super excited for my Suns for this coming season.
Championship or fail this year, right?
Oh, always. These these last few years, it's been championship or bust, and
Yeah.
now with the super team that they're building,
Yeah.
they may be almost there. I saw, well, figured brought in Bradley Beal. They already have Booker and Kevin Durant. They also pulled in Eric Gordon from
Yeah,
through free agency,
that's a good
and
backup.
he was on a interview saying that he could have took more money to go somewhere else, but he decided to come to Phoenix, play on the minimum, and have that
He's going to ring
much better chance of getting a ring, right?
Yeah, he's ring
And
chasing.
and plus with the mid level, or not mid level, but the veteran minimum guys they got, they fill out the roster really nicely. Plus, I saw a rumor today that there may be a Aiton for Embiid trade
Wow,
in the
that's a
works.
little smoke.
If
I did
if
not see
that
that up
happens,
there.
yeah, if that happens, then just hand them the championship now because there's no way to stop that.
That's a pretty
So
big upgrade. Aiton for Embiid.
yeah,
I think you got to make a couple of things work there, but yeah, that's interesting, huh?
I'm doubting the validity of that, but just to see it out
I mean,
there,
I
I was
guess
like,
if James
oh,
Harden
please give
wants
me that.
out, does Philly just say we're done and maybe try to ship Embiid out? Because Harden
Right.
wants out of there, and I don't know who's still. Tobias Harris, I guess, is still there. That was a name the Pacers had looked at. Um, my Pacers, though, I thought they made some good moves. I really like the Obi Toppin move. He's a guy that hasn't quite hit his level, Greg, but who knows? Maybe get out of New York. Getting
Mm-hmm.
some more, a little more playing time, playing with Halliburton. Um, Pascal Siakam, that's been mentioned. I think that would take a lot of doing, though, Greg, try to get him here. But if we got
Right.
him, then yeah, it's playoffs or bust for us.
Right. And I've heard this has been a rumor with Indiana about a guy,
TJ,
but TJ,
yeah,
yeah, that's it.
and
So
he's a backup point guard, and what I love about him, he's like Lance Stevenson light. I'll call it, Greg. I think
mhm.
he plays more under control. And he's got a pretty decent 3-point shot, but he does bring an energy and hustle that you need. So, and Eric Gordon is a good Indiana product. North Central High School right here in Indianapolis, Greg.
Nice.
And then did he go to Arizona? I think. I want to say, or no. Anyways, but he's a high school product out of Indiana. So, there's been a lot of good Indiana products out of the high school system here, especially in the cities. Yeah, but I think there's an excitement for my Pacers that hasn't been here since about 2018, 2017 ish, and even further back to the 2012, 2013 seasons with Paul George, Roy Hibbert, George Hill, Lance Stevenson, David West days. Like one of those seasons, we should have beat the Heat. I'll just say that. But and then there's
Yep.
the rumblings that maybe Paul George back here, Greg. I don't I don't know how I would take that, but I don't know how you would compare to Phoenix. Like, I'm trying to think of who's left your team that would come back that I don't think there is a comparison. Right. I mean, so.
No, I mean, Phoenix is the
Like,
destination
I guess
now
it'd be
for
a Booker.
anybody who's a free agent.
If Booker left and then tried to, like, that would be, the comparison. But, I don't, like I said, I don't know how I feel about Paul George back. I mean, if him and Halliburton have good chemistry, why not? He definitely would have to come back and apologize or make amends with the city. Get us buy us a good season ticket pass or something. Get a good section in the stadium for Paul George section. But interesting stuff there. I can't believe that Embiid Aiden thing, Greg. Yeah, I need to see. Is that like was that Adrian Wojnarowski 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Was there a bunch of numbers after the name?
Yeah, I have to look and see what that source was again because they got my hopes up for a second. But I was like, wait, I gotta go back and see who wrote that.
Yeah.
But just to see that's out there, I'm like, oh yes, put that in my veins. Give me that. Yes, that's an automatic yes.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. I mean, if any team has a chance to get Embiid, they're backing up the truck.
So yeah.
All right. Well, let's drop it there. We will end the show and come back at it next week, and talk to you guys next week as we let a little more play of Superkick party.
Superkick.